Hello, this is Chase Morrison back again for another edition of creating a financial dashboard using Excel. In this video, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the metrics that we've added to our dashboard that may not have been quite as straightforward as some of the other things that we were computing before, which are day sales receivable, which is a metric on utilizing accounts receivable, days of inventory on hand, obviously inventory, and then the leverage ratio. But before we get too far into that, I just kind of wanted to bring you up to date on where our dashboard is right now. Okay, bringing over Excel here, we can see going to the top that we have finished creating all our dashboards. So as you'll recall from the previous video, we're going to create 11 different graphs within our dashboard. So we've gone through and copy and pasted and then remapped all our dashboards to the metrics that are over here on the right, which is where all the computations are getting done. So here's gross margin, operating profit, operating margin, net income, return on sales. So you can see what I've done here is I try and put the data that is relating to the charts directly adjacent to the chart. So it makes it a little bit easier to see how things are mapped. For example, over here on the receivables chart, if I want to select the monthly receivable actuals, you can see when I click on it, I can see that it's getting it from this section of the spreadsheet right here. Okay? So we have return on sales, accounts receivable, days of inventory on hand, equity and leverage, and then cash flow. So really the dashboard is complete, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about some of these other metrics. So let's go back over to PowerPoint. Okay, well here we are back at PowerPoint, and we're looking at the slide on DSR. So DSR is day sales receivable, and DSR is basically a measure of how efficiently you are using your receivables, and it's a measure of how many days of sale you have on the balance sheet that are reflected in your accounts receivable balance. The lower the DSR number, the better. So if you're collecting your receivables in 30 days, you should have a DSR that's pretty close to 30 days. You should know what your industry average is. That's pretty important because you do not want to be collecting your receivables in 80 days and have all your competitors collecting their receivables in 30 days, because you are giving significantly more favorable terms to your customers, and you would be at a significant working capital disadvantage relative to your competitors, meaning that your competitors are having to deploy less cash to generate the same level of sales. Now there's pretty much two methods to calculating DSR. One is what I call the quick and dirty method, and that's the one that I've used on the graph that we're going to look at in a minute. But it basically is looking at a 12-month trailing history. So you would sum your last 12 months of sales and divide that by 365 days. That's going to give you the average per day amount of sales that the business is generating. So the next step is taking the month-end receivables balance and dividing that by the average sales per day. And then that will give you a rough guesstimate as to how many days of sales you have sitting on your balance sheet. A more complex method that would probably require a custom function macro in Excel. Later I may create a video to show you how to do that, but here is an example down below that shows you how you would calculate it. So in this example, we're attempting to calculate what our DSR is for our receivables as of the end of March. So you can see here I'm showing the sales that you have each month. So in January, 350, 425,000 in February, 500,000 in March. You can see the calendar days in each one of those months. Then as of March 31st, we had $750,000 in outstanding receivables on the balance sheet. So the process in the look back method is that you subtract the sales from the receivables balance until it goes to zero. And in the month it goes to zero, then you take some prorated amount of the days in that month. So in our example, you can see we start with $750,000 in receivables, and then we subtract out the $500,000 in sales that we have in March. That leaves $250,000 that we move back 1 month. So in February, you can see we had $425,000. So we're not going to have to go back any farther than to February. But we only want to pick up the prorated number of days in February. We don't need to pick up the full 28 days. So what we do is we divide the amount of remaining receivables that we have after rolling back from March, which was $250,000, and we divide that by the sales in February, which was $425,000, and then we multiply that times the 28 days that are in February, and then we get 17.5 days of DSR from February, and then we add that for the full month of February, which was 31, and you can see our day sales outstanding as of March 31st is 48.5 days. So now we're on the days of inventory on hand calculation, and again, this is an efficiency metrics on how well a business is managing their inventory. Just like with DSR, the lower the number, the better. Again, you should know what your industry average is for days of inventory on hand, because you do not want to be maintaining significantly more inventory than you have to, but there's a lot of complexity into how much inventory you have to handle, you have to maintain. That is a discussion for another day. To calculate DIOH, you basically take your 12-month trailing cost of goods. Now this is just the cost of goods relating to your inventory as it is expired from the balance sheet and onto the P&L. So we take the 12-month trailing cost of goods, divide that by 365 days, and we get what our average per day cost of goods is that we've experienced in the last year. Then we take our month-end gross inventory balance, and we divide that by the factor that we just computed, how much cost of goods we ship per day, and then that tells us how many days of inventory we have on hand. Now, I've never seen anybody use a look-back formula to compute days of inventory on hand, but I guess you could do that if you really wanted to. As far as the inventory turns, that is just another calculation that you can make once you have your days of inventory on hand. And in this example, we have a DIOH of 120 days. So dividing 365 by 120, you get about 3.0 X. And when I say X, I mean times. So you're turning over your inventory 3 times a year. So is 3 times a year inventory turnover good or not? I mean, for most privately held businesses like my clientele, that is a pretty decent turn. But if you're Walmart, I mean, Walmart probably turns their inventory over 20 times a year. So you can imagine they are what I would term best in class. And finally, here we are on the leverage calculation. Sometimes this is termed debt to equity ratio. Basically, all you're doing is you're dividing your liabilities by your equity. So liabilities represent what the business owes to third parties, or what claims do third parties have on the business's assets. And then equity is the owner or stakeholder's claim on the business's assets. So again, the lower, the better. You should have some idea as to what the industry average is, although that's not quite so important here because, again, similar to inventory, there's an awful lot of factors involved in each business's business model that affects what the leverage ratio is going to be. Banks in general, they kind of like to see leverage below 2.0 if they are looking at a business as a possible lending opportunity. Once you start getting up beyond 2.0 leverage, then you start to get in a more risk category or a higher risk category, and then the banks tend to be less interested in working with you. So here's just an example. If you have a 2.0 leverage ratio, what that means is that third parties basically have a claim on 67 cents of every dollar of assets the business has, and the owners have 33 cents. If you had a leverage ratio of 4x, then third parties would have a claim on 75 cents of every dollar of assets versus owners and stakeholders only have 25 cents. Hopefully that is clear, that you can see bankers are going to be looking for owners and stakeholders who are going to be standing in behind the debt to have as much skin in the business as possible, which is reflected by a lower leverage ratio. A higher leverage ratio, as the final comment there shows, is increases the possibility that in difficult times a business could become insolvent trying to support all the debt that they have on the balance sheet. Returning back to Excel, let's start talking about the DSR and accounts receivable graph. So you can see here I've split the y-axes into two, having the month-end accounts receivable balance on the left axis and then the days DSR or sales outstanding is on the right axis. So these lines reflect what's happening with days sales receivable, and then the columns are the amount of receivables that are outstanding, planned versus actual. So all I did on this graph, and it's going to be the same with the days of inventory on hand, is if I go out here to the left, I just brought in the prior year. This would be the prior year results, and then this is the current year results. So here all I'm doing, and then I have the sales, or this is revenue, so actual revenue, plan revenue. So in the prior year, the plan and the actual are all the same. And then starting here, the current year is 2021 in this example. So this part here is history. This is the current year plan. So all I'm doing is just doing a simple formula here to figure out what the DSR is. I'm just looking at what the receivable balance is on an actual basis. So in February or in January, it was $27,894. That's in the numerator. And then here, I'm just taking the prior 12 months of revenue history, dividing it by 365 to come up with an average sales per day for the past 12 months, and then dividing that into the numerator, into the 27,984. And that's producing 60 days. So as of the end of January 2021, I had 60 days of receivables. And as you can see, this formula just moves forward. But if this was a real business, I mean, this is a great trend going from 60 days to 46 days. That is a 25% improvement in receivables, and that would be a big saver relative to cash flow. On DIOH, I mean, I'm just going to drop down here, but it's the same thing, just instead of revenue, I have cost of goods, and I'm getting these numbers off these other two tabs over here, and then I have the actual and planned inventory. So if I want to look again at what and this is a bit odd. I mean, I'm just using this QuickBooks example file, and I didn't really generate any days, so I don't know of anybody that's going to have 8,000 days of inventory on hand, but that's the way it computed. But it's the same thing. There's very little sales here in the 12 months, or the cost of goods here in the 12 months preceding this period. So this inventory is just sitting here not doing anything. If this was a real business, I mean, they would want to get rid of all this inventory. But anyways, that's the calculation, and you do see it going down. That's a good thing. You know, the plan, now I generate the plan, I show the plan going down and things getting better over time as well. So that all gets represented over here. Here is the inventory in DIOH forecast. So you can see the days of inventory on hand dropping, and then you can see our plan kind of gradually going down, our actual inventory month-end balances. So again, on the left side are the dollars, on the right, these are the days. On leverage isn't so complicated, but here you can see the leverage. Now I put in a separate line here because this would be, if this was a business where they were thinking, hey, we need to grow and we got to get our debt to equity or our leverage down below 2 because our banker said we're not really going to talk to you until you can do that. So here we have a plan that shows that we are, by the end of December 2021, to be at a leverage of 2, and the plan has all the details on how we get there, and it looks like the actuals are trending in that direction. So the business would want to keep a close eye on this and make sure that they continue to trend downward. And that's probably pretty likely because, as you can see, the equity here is going up faster than the plan, but the equity growth really starts to get going out here. So there's going to be more sales, and profitability probably is the big thing, as well as receivables improving. That's going to drive that equity improvement. So the last graph that we really didn't talk about, and I'm not going to get into too much here, is on cash flow. So here's a cash flow graph, and it's just basically showing the monthly changes in cash flow and the cumulative to date changes in cash flow. So per the plan, it looks like the business is going to use, or it's going to need, about $50,000 in cash. And again, that would be kind of indicative of the business needing to go out and get lending and bring their leverage ratio down to 2. Well, that's about it here for the 7th edition of our dashboard. In the next one, I'm going to show you how this comes together and how it gets updated quickly using QuickBooks and Plan Guru. We hope you found this helpful. Please subscribe and comment down below to help us improve our content. Feel free to visit our website to learn more about our services at profitwyse.com, and have a great day. Bye.